Oh boy, am I on the right one? Let me look here. Ah, oh, there we go. Hello. You know what? I have to change. Can I change my name? Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's been so long since we had a live stream. Hello, hello. Oh, my mom's here. How are you feeling, mom? She just had surgery. Okay, things have changed. Things have changed. Chat overlay. Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, it says oops live stream. That is hilarious. I wonder if I could change that right now. Oh my gosh. I was playing with this yesterday, everybody. Oh, mom says she's good. That's good. I was playing with this yesterday because I had it had been a while since I used this, and I 100% just put oops live stream in as the name, and that is what it is, which is why I was like, what? Maybe we'll just do that. There we go. I took it off. Perfect. So now it doesn't say that. Oh my gosh, you love the oops, don't change it. Oh gosh. Okay. I'll put it back. So, hello, who's here? What are you drinking? I just had a discovery call with the client and it ended like 3 minutes ago. So I quickly ran to the washroom. I was going to make more tea, but all I did was just took my glass into the washroom, just filled up with the tap. So Kelsey is here. Hello, hello. What are you drinking, Kelsey? And what is your favorite tea from Murchie's? Because I finally went there. We ended up going to the one at Park Royal in North Vancouver. I think that's the only one I went to. And I did buy some. Some of them, one of them was, I really liked Paris Afternoon. And I bought London Afternoon. It is so smoky. It's like being in those old cigar shops. All right. So let's see. Kelsey says she missed the morning lives. Hello from Oceanside. Amber drinking decaf coffee. That is great. So good to see you here. And yeah, it's a funny day. I wanted to chat about to-do lists. And this idea came from Kelsey. Actually, first, what I wanted to say is thank you for joining me in the live stream on my new channel. Hello, Jean. Good to see you. Yes, must be fall. The furnace came on, she says. And so I created this ADHD channel because I was sort of like muddling the content between I had to like between my decluttering minimalism and ADHD because a lot of people with ADHD were like, I could really use minimalism. So I was like, okay, well, this is perfect. I'm just going to like combine it. But the problem is, not everybody wanted that, which I 100% completely understand. So that I thought I'm just going to make a separate channel. But this week I thought I'm going to give myself a little bit of a boost on this channel and we'll do the live stream over here because a lot of the things I talk about, they work for both. And CJ's here. CJ, so good to see you. Change of plans. Were you going to go to pottery today and you didn't? Anita, hi from the Netherlands with a caramel latte. Yum. Kelsey, good morning, my darling. That's so sweet. I'm drinking plain old Tetley this morning, my favorite from Murchie's. Hard to narrow down. Black currant, flavored black, Canada 150. Interesting. And let's see. Anna from the UK drinking Earl Grey. I love Earl Grey. Give the video a thumbs up. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate that. And pottery was canceled. Okay. Interesting. Well, that's all right. We got to come together and chat. So I'm actually going to set, I got this time timer, which is something a lot of people with ADHD have. It's so cool. I'll put a link in if anybody wants it. But what's great is you can see, so it's 9:05. So say I wanted this to be an hour and to put it like that. and then you see how much time it is so helpful. I'm not even I did not think that I would need this. I thought, "Oh, I'm just buying this for my kids." And also because then I can just, like, show it in videos and stuff. No, I love this thing. Oh, I love it. And I actually said to one of my kids yesterday, I set it to 15 and I said, "Go fold your laundry." I said, "I'm looking at the time now." And, I said, "If you can beat this, then I will" I don't know what it was, "let you have internet," because I was, like, getting tired of this kid not folding his laundry. Anna says her fave herbal teas, mint and fennel mix. Oh my gosh, I know that flavor. I know that flavor. I smell that at a lot of the shops around here. Yeah, so, yeah, I wanted to do this live stream because I have been last fall. Okay, first of all, you guys know how much I love Christmas, and I love fall and Christmas so much. They are the seasons, holidays, whatever. Like they are just like so cozy, so easy. And I think like they're really good community things that you can do together because you can talk about like how much you love decorating for Halloween or whatever and Christmas and whatever. So I was doing like a weekly live stream last fall. But then come January, I found it a little bit harder for topics. And so I slowed it down a little bit as the winter wore on and then moved it to more like monthly. And then we started the Patreon, which was also an opportunity to meet with people and was great because we actually had Zoom calls. So I got to see people. Like I got to see Kelsey and Jean, who's here, and just sort of see like what people were up to. So really fun. I absolutely loved it. But I just felt like I didn't have the time to give to it properly. So I canceled that. But I want to get back to the live streams and at least monthly. Yes, CJ too, you're right, CJ. And so, yeah, I this last September was crazy, and so I actually was like, "Oh my gosh," I didn't even have time to do a live stream in September. So I thought, "Well, let's just do one this month." So I wanted to see, I was chatting with, Kelsey on a message, and she said that to-do lists can really stress her out, and so I wanted to talk about to-do lists for those of us with ADHD and without, because I think to-do lists can stress a lot of people out. Yeah, we never did see Anita, did we? Everybody pretty much came on screen except for Anita. Yeah. And you know what? Oh, hi, Caitlin. Nice to meet you. Kelsey, tell me. I know that because when and the reason why I talk to Kelsey directly is because she's been in a lot of the groups that we've had. And one of them was the last decluttering group. And one of our people, Amy, was in that. But I never hear from her anymore. So I hope she's doing okay. Um, and yeah, I don't know if anybody ever hears from her, but I wanted to just put one more reminder in the Facebook group real quick here. If anybody here has ever done a live stream, it's kind of funny because you like are talking to people, but you're also the only one talking. So my throat often is like dry at the end of one of these. So I did want to just be like, hey, um, I'm just gonna say live right now. Pardon me, right now. Join us. And then I can get back to the chat and see. Boom. Okay, let's see. Nancy, thank you so much. The info you are sharing through this channel has taught me so much. Oh my gosh, I am so happy. Caitlin, it's nice to chat with you. Yeah, it's this channel is very interesting because like I said on the minimalist home channel, that really was supposed to be about like decluttering and like simplifying your home. And I just felt like the crossover wasn't really going that well. So I think that making the ADHD channel was more specific. And I was always not really sure if I even had ADHD. Thank you so much, Elaine. And so when let me see, is this, oh, there we go. It's weird how I've got this. Maybe I'll do that. They've changed the setup here. So I always like my family has ADHD. And so my husband has it, 2 of my kids have it, and it is just like it's a lot. And so I am the most together in the house by far. And so I wasn't sure if I had it. Like, there's a lot of areas where I do pretty well, but there are some areas where I don't do so well, a lot. And so I went to my doctor, and my doctor was like, she said, of course, it was a phone call because the doctors here are not seeing us in real life still, which is really strange. Anyway, so she's like, so what makes you think you have that? And I'm like, well, first of all, that is such a strange thing to say. And then she said, "Is this something you'd want to take medication for?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. Like, why? What a weird way to talk to a patient. And you're the doctor. Like, let's have this conversation. Maybe we should get a diagnosis going before we actually like decide what's going on." So she sent me the form to fill out in June. In classic fashion, I didn't actually get it filled out until recently. But what I did instead was I saw a provider in the Lower Mainland of Vancouver area. And so they diagnosed me. But I really would much rather go to her. And so I will see her because when she said that, like, "Oh, why do you think you have ADHD? Oh, everybody thinks they have that right now." I was like, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm your patient. You should be talking to me about this specifically. It shouldn't just be like, "Oh, well, everybody thinks they have it right now." Yeah, like maybe that's because like a ton of people are getting I'm plummy today. I'm sorry. A ton of people are getting diagnosed. In particular, a lot of women, because like when I was a kid, I was hyper. Like my mom, if she's still here, she could tell you, yeah, she was hyper. I really, really struggle when I am in a presentation for my mind not to wander. Going to church, it is almost impossible for me to listen. It really is. Like that's just it. And so I was actually doing coach training this spring and I just kept thinking, I'm gonna have to rewatch this. I'm gonna have to rewatch this because I just can't focus on it. So some areas I do pretty well in, other areas I don't. And so, but when she said that to me, it just made me feel embarrassed. It made me feel like, I don't know, like, am I like a loser? Go ADHD, go, oh, I have to check out your channel. Welcome. I know. I'm filming later, like, talk about procrastination, but I know I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna, like, take a little rest." Yeah, more tea. Isn't she funny? Thank you. No, I'm just gonna take a quick break here. Yeah, I think it's so funny, and I mean, I am a nurse working in urgent care, and so people whose doctors won't see them in person would have to come to us. And we're like, we're seeing people in person. Like, I don't know how many like, I put PPE on constantly to see people during the whole pandemic. Why people they're like, "There's still a pandemic going on." I'm like, "But you're a doctor. Like, when you went to med school, didn't you think you were going to have to, like, see sick people that were contagious, potentially?" I don't know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't vent, but it's kind of frustrating. Certainly is strange to open a conversation like that, but they'd be appropriate questions if there had been a prior discussion about it. It wasn't all huff sigh. Yeah, I think I might have ADHD. Me. Yeah, I thought you already knew that. My doctor. That is adorable. I love that. And so the thing is, like for me, I am the most together in my house. Like um I have ADHD, but I think it's mild compared to like my husband and 2 of my kids. Some areas I am terrible at. And I'm like, I can't believe anybody was, like my husband would be like, yeah, they said this. I'm like, oh my gosh, like my mind was like completely wandering. But other areas, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's smart. Did it help, Kelsey, the emergency cup of coffee? Yeah, coffee does work. Yeah. So anyway, I do want to talk to her, and I like, I don't know, like, I think she's a wonderful doctor. The other thing is, and I'm actually going to get to this in a video coming up, but when after I had my third, I went to my doctor and I said, "My memory is terrible." And she said, "Oh, well, you have 3 kids." I'm like, "Okay." Meanwhile, what it probably was that I was, before it was just me I had to keep track of, so that wasn't as hard. But once you have a family, it's totally different. So, anyway, long story short, I didn't actually want to just make this all about my diagnosis because I'm actually filming a video on that later today. And yeah, but I wanted to talk about to do lists because some people hate to do lists, other people love them. For me, and I totally agree with you, Noel. I don't know if it's Noel or Noel. Um, but I love my to-do list, but I used to really get myself in trouble with it. And so you guys know, like, I love my planner, and this is always like what it looks like. It's often quite full, but the thing is, I oh, I don't have my other one right here, but I would put everything in it before, and it would make me feel so bad if I didn't get to it. So Kelsey says, I love them because yay, lists, but they're so hard sometimes, right? And I love lists too. Like, I have to write it down. And that's just the thing. Like, in that, so I'm a certified high performance coach, but I'm also informed with ADHD. I've taken, like, of course, there's the family, but I've taking a Simply ADHD course right now. And one of the things that we talk about is like just write it down. And we love to have like just one book where you write everything down. And a lot of people get really perfectionist and they're like, well, I should have the right book. And do I need a table of contents and all of these things? And so the thing is, it's just like, just write it down, and like you said, like, lists, yay, lists, and so, if I put down, like, my top 3 things that I want to get done, then I'm good, and I actually will schedule them, and so I will put down in my phone, like, so this is a Plum Planner, and so I you can customize the front. So this one says, "I'm living my dream life because I am," and I put my name on it, and I custom let me go to a blank page. Oh, that's September. I was like, "Wow, I filled out October so far?" And so with this one, send me if you want me to send you a link for this, I can get you 10% off. You just have to shoot me an email. So I customized it, and you can customize if you want to go in columns. And I put weekly joys up here because, like, so that should be like meditating, affirmations, manifesting, all of that, like home things I want to get done for the home, priorities. This is really weird to do. And then at the bottom, I put like meals. So I will look at my phone because that's where all appointments go, all Zoom calls go. I have a ton of Zoom calls, and I will write it. I fill in my planner for the next week, and I have a filming day, which is usually Wednesday or Thursday. And so I know like what I'm doing that day. I coach on Mondays and Tuesdays. So I have like those coaching days, and I write all of those appointments down. So helpful. But, I used to do what some of you are saying, where I would put way, 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 way too much stuff down, and then I would end up with, just, like, complete overwhelm and feeling stressed and feeling like a total loser because I wasn't getting it all done, which is completely not how it should be. Let me look at the chat here. Oh, Jean, you're so sweet. What planner do you have? The Plum Planner. So shoot me an email at robin@minimalisthome.ca and I can send you a code. Professional opinion. Here is ADHD is no problem if you do not have a problem with it, but it can be a problem for your family members, right? I like the idea of not to do lists. And yeah, and so that was the other thing that Kelsey said was ta-da list, like writing down what you did. So for me, like I put down, just want to be sure I'm not. Yes, I'm not. Okay, I was covering up. But I put like a little checkbox next to things. And so I love the checkbox. Makes me feel so good. Thank you so much, Jean. Kelsey, always one book and always have a few specific homes for it. Yeah, right. Same with my AirPods. I used to keep them in the same spot every time, and now I just move them around. Um, and yeah, Jean has a love-hate relationship with books. Anita, that's so true. Go ADHD Go says, I love my to-do list, but I don't panic about it. And I highly suggest digital task managers. Yeah. Well, I could get into that in a minute for myself. Yeah, what apps do you recommend? Or a done list, CJ says. Yeah. So that's just it. Like, so I will put down my appointments, like the things that I'm doing. Like I put down, I just had that call, my discovery call, and then I put like my live here. I get up at 6 to write. So I put that in there so I can check that off. And like I'm working on a couple of thumbnails for some YouTube videos. So and filming. So that's a lot right there, you know. And I have to really be careful with my energy and where is that? There's a book called Your Brain is Not Broken. It is incredible. And she talks about like the different colors for tasks and sort of like how it works our energy. It's amazing. I can get into that if you want. To-do list start out as a brain dump for me. The challenge is not to feel guilty for the things you don't finish. So that's why it's good to put them all down and then to just sort of like have a master to-do list and then like adding each day or week or whatever what you want to do. Because so like often at the top, like where I have priorities on my planner, that's when I know like that's sort of like the big priorities for the week that have to get done. Like every week for me, like in my business, like there's client calls. I have to write a couple of scripts a week. I should write a couple of emails. I have to make thumbnails. I have to film. I have to talk to my editor. But like some of that's more reactive, like talking to the editor. But yeah, so I think to-do lists are great, but I loved Kelsey's ta-da lists for sure. Yeah. And Anna, what is a not to-do list? Yeah, I want to know more about that. So one area where Anna says, identifying what doesn't serve you, what you don't need to do, thus making time for your true priorities. Oh yeah. So that brings me back to the that book because she talks about like the 4 colors and it's like the 4 areas. I wish I had my iPad in here. I could show you. I might even be able to log in with my Kindle. But there's 4 colors and it is basically like how it works with your energy. Is it Kindle.com? This is weird. I know it's Kindle Reader. Kindle Reader. There we go. So certain things really, really, oh my gosh, this is this book. Let me see if I can screen. Oh my gosh, I'll have to open it and stand by, everybody. Be patient, please. Very cool. So there's red, blue, green, and yellow. Yellow's like the worst, which is why I'm like, ugh, yellow. And so what we do is if you think about things like that you really stress about, and we procrastinate, and then we do those things. That is often now I can screen share. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna figure it out with this new system. See, now that was really bad self-talk, wasn't it? Oh, I think I might yes, share screen, window. Huh? Yay! No. Why isn't it working? Can you see it? It says it is. It says it's sharing. Can I see it? Can you see it? Tell me if you can see it. Okay. So, red, basically if we procrastinate things, red there's high things that are not fun versus high emotional stimulation versus low emotional stimulation. So CJ says she can't see it. Why does it say it's sharing if it's not? Ugh, so annoying. It drives me nuts when these like things they they change. Window, Chrome tab, Kindle. Can you see it? Can you see it? I doubt you can. I'm just going to explain it anyway. So, things that are high emotional stimulation, red things we've put off. So, when we're doing them, we're like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm full." If you've procrastinated something and like say I've like got a bunch of emails to write, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've got all these emails to write." And sometimes I'll be like, "I'm full of this like fun energy and it's just so wonderful." And then we end up going like, "All right, well, um I'm super burnt out and tired now." It says that it's sharing. I know it's not though, so I'm just gonna be like, "Stop fooling yourself, you silly program." So that's red. So it's actually not good for our energy. It uses a ton of energy. It's not really fun. It is emotional stimulation, but not in a good way. Then you get yellow. So those are like the boring things, and they are low emotional stimulation, like folding laundry, things that we don't like to do at all. Green or blue is low emotional stimulation, but it's fun. So watching YouTube, like taking a break on the couch, like it improves your energy, but it's you don't need much of it and it does it very slowly. Green are the best things. Like for me, I love cooking. Green is the best. It makes me feel wonderful. High emotional stimulation feels really good, or like going for a walk or seeing friends or whatever. And so it's about, sorry, it took me so long to like figure. Anyway, so it's all about managing those things, I think. And so looking at all of the things that we have to get done, we can feel really, really down that we are not making these things work. And so I will be, if I'm like pushing myself and I'm doing a bunch of things from the red list and I'm super stressed, like I'm actually going away this weekend and my family is home and I pretty much, I have a bunch of things to do. So I am feeling like a little bit in the red zone. And I'm just like, no, like I have to try to balance it with some greens and some blues and some yellows. It's best to try to stay out of the red zone altogether. We don't want to be like dealing with the stress of things that we've procrastinated with and like the pressure and all of that. So sometimes you need to just sit down and veg and watch YouTube. Like I just had a client call. I'm doing this, which is fun chatting with you all, but I'm going to take a little break after. I'm just going to sit down, watch a little Max Miller tasting history. And, that is some blue time. And then I've got to get some laundry going. So I'll put some of that in. Boring, right? Yellow. Got a yellow thing out of the way. And then green, which is when I'm being productive. So that's when I will be making a video. You usually feel like really, really good when you're done. So, yeah. I hope I explained that well. I don't feel like I did. Thank you, Gabriella. That is so sweet. I really appreciate that. You could highlight it in different colors for sure. Sometimes you just sort of know what they are. Like for me, I found like if isn't tasting history so good. But like if I get up and I write in the morning, that's a green thing. That feels good. Getting the kids ready, I mean, I would say yellow, but not really. Like, it's not boring. I don't hate it. And then I take a little break. Usually, like, I watch, like, just like read or watch a little bit of the YouTube, and then green. I get back to work, take a little break, exercise, total green area. Absolutely love it. Then watch some yellow, all of that. Or watch some yellow, do some laundry, some yellow. Let's see. Colors sound like a good system. Yeah, you don't need, yeah. So what you could do, I totally recommend that book. I'll look up the link real quick. And Tasting History is so good. Listen to YouTube when I fold laundry directly out of the dryer. That way I don't have a pile of laundry on the couch. That's really smart. And The Black Banquet, I watched that. You guys, after this, watch Max Miller, Tasting History, Black Banquet. Wow. Did that banquet not seem like that would just mess with you? That was something. I'm telling you, those, like, he was Roman, right? Those Romans, they were something. They were something. Yeah. So that is sort of like how I have been doing pretty good with, like, getting things done. Because if you think about it, like, I am a nurse and I really struggled getting, like, managing everything since I have been working at home most of the right now, um, I pretty much it's been a lot better. Let's see what this says. ADHD to the max right now. Get back on track and stop letting me distract you. Right? It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. Where was I? Yeah. And so then the other thing I was going to say is, like, as we were talking about, like, keeping our houses clean and decluttering and minimalism, all of that, like, from the other channel, there is such a big crossover. And that's why I was sort of like, at first, like, I want to try to make this work on both channels, and did not work, which is fine. But it's so important to have a calm environment. And when my kids went to school, like, first of all, having 3 teenagers home all summer, I mean, you'd think the house would be clean. Well, maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. It was hard. Like, I kept thinking when they're home, they will pick up their stuff, but it was just constantly me having to remind them all of the time. And so what I did was I said, but as soon as they went to school, it was just absolutely wonderful. And I just picked everything up. It was absolutely divine. I can think clearly. But again, things pile up. And I made a mistake last week. I thought this is classic. Classic. I thought it was garbage week when in reality it was recycling week, which is always the thing that is the fullest for us. And so now we will have a month's worth of recycling. We have 3 weeks of recycling in our garage, which reminds me it's garbage day. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, you guys. This is just, like, so all over the place. But yeah, so now we have, like, all of this extra recycling. And so now I've got it kind of, like, piling up. Not a lot. There's like 3 boxes. If you live in Canada and you like to give Purdy's chocolate for your family at Christmas, order their Almost Perfect. It's great because they may be a little smushed or a little funny looking sometimes, but they taste delicious. It's a deal. You get a lot of it. So it just came. That's what reminds me. Okay, let me see. Christine says, I have 3 girls age 8, 7, and 4. The house is a mess. Totally. I totally feel you. Let's see. Somebody else arrived and I did not greet you. Hooked by Donine. I need to write everything down on to-do list. If I don't, it won't be done. That's the other thing. I really, really struggle when I don't write stuff down. I I I completely, hello, you're from Saskatchewan. Um, I have to write it down. Otherwise, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. That's just it. Like, if I'm just relying on the odd thing in my head, like, I don't know. I don't know. So I think that's just it. Like, I have come up with systems that have worked because I'm 43. So I've made it, like, this far. And, like, Kelsey, for example, this woman, she has some systems that work with her. And one of my clients who I actually just finished with, she has I've never seen somebody who automated more things. Things work so well. And she also has ADHD. Yeah, so I have it. I have it. I have it on my phone, and I have it in my kitchen. Ah, what is it like for you, Kelsey? So Kelsey and I we've never met, but we live in the same province. Alternating recycling garbage. My parents have the same schedule and have a whole bunch of things to the depot themselves. Yeah, we have to. How do you keep track? Except when you don't. Exactly. And so I usually just remember, and I think like when things are really crazy, that's when you forget. Yes, writing it down helps with memory. It's true. It's so true. I I will go, like, say, like, so after this call, I'm gonna go and sit down, watch some Max Miller, Tasty History, even though I've seen them all. I also really like the Townsends. Um, but I'll take my planner, and even though I'm taking a break, and I have to, like, because, like, I love you too. I love you all. But this is work now, right? And so, but I need to have it. Otherwise, then I'm like thinking, "Oh, man, what am I doing next? What do I have to do? Blah, 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 blah," if I don't have it. If I have it, then I can, like, quickly look and be like, "Okay, okay, like, you're good." And I just, like, have to look at what's coming. So for me, it actually, maybe it seems a little, I don't wanna say OCD, I don't think that's appropriate, but, I don't know what word to use, but it feels like that. The Townsends. Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. I was watching them last night before I went to bed. I was tired. I got up at 5 because I was taking my mom to the hospital because she had surgery on her mouth and she's not here anymore because she's not responding, which is fine. It's fine. And so she's probably sleeping, but yes, ours has an app too. And it didn't remind me. I said to my husband, "It didn't remind me," but it's because I got a new phone. I swapped phones with one of my kids, but yeah, so I had to get up early. I thought I would sleep well. I didn't. Hormones. I'm going away. Also, I had, like, I guess that a little bit of that stress of I've got to get things done on my brain. So yeah, see, smart, Anita. I typically remember, and usually somebody is going out and they drive by. But actually, since our son started driving him and his brothers to school, often he is, like, it used to be you drive the kids to school, and so you would see, but we don't, like, um I didn't drive by it today, so I won't know. My husband's leaving for work in less than an hour, so he might send me a note, but now I know. Normally, I get the kids to do it, like, that's why I wanna know sooner. Let's see. I'm really interested. We have plastic, metal, paper, glass, recycles, 2 bins of garbage, and as much as you want of yard waste every week? Wow, you can put your yard waste out? We can, like, so our food waste, I think we can put, I think they say not to put yard waste in their food waste, but I feel like some people do. Glass? We can't take our, like, we have to take our glass in. You're so lucky. Oh my gosh. Hmm. When you don't grow up knowing about your ADHD, you just create habits in life that help you cope with daily things. Luckily, we all are creative like that. Exactly, Jean. That's just it. And that's like, seriously, like Anita, she's created great systems. Kelsey, she's created great systems. Debbie, who's not here, I'm sure she's created great systems. Um, yeah, that's funny. Kelsey says they get the kids to run out. Yeah, I would have had I remembered. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Jean, that's exactly it. Did you find you're really rigid in your coping mechanisms? Yeah. Okay, so we can't take ours out the night before because we have bears. We have tried, and those bears, they make a mess. They make a mess. We have bear proof containers, which do not work. So I'd show you I'm in a forest. There's bears. All right. Totally not rigid. Always open to trying a new way. Well, that's good. Yeah, Jean, you're pretty laid back. Oh, it's so nice to sit and chat with you guys again. So what else was I going to talk about? What was it? Not feeling effective, I think. And so that's the other thing. It's like when we put things on our list, um, we pretty much will a lot of us feel like if we don't get that stuff done, then we are a failure, or we don't get all of that stuff done, then we are a failure, which is so not true. And that's why in my ADHD training course, what was it she called it? Oh gosh, I can't remember. But pretty much just like there's 2 or 3 oh, well, actually, it was sort of like that rock scenario where it was like if you put all the big rocks are the important things in life, and then the smaller rocks are the important but not as important, and then the sand is all the extra stuff, right? And if you were to pour just the sand in the bowl, there's no room for the other stuff. And so she said just a couple of big or medium rocks a day. Otherwise, we just don't have the time to get things done. And so we feel like we're not effective and like we just can't, um, like we're a failure. Meanwhile, that's like totally not true. And so if we are actually putting way too many things on our list, we're not being fair to ourselves. And actually, the client who I was just chatting with, she took a course on energy and she said there's like Mo well, for her I don't know if it was for her or everybody, but there's, like, 5 things of energy. She's an energetic person, so I think it's even less for a lot of people. Like, for me, I can do a couple of client calls, um, like, when it comes to work or creativity, those things, like client calls, I love them, but it does take energy. Making videos, like filming, takes a lot of energy. But if I were to cook a meal or to bake, that gives me energy. That makes me feel good, but it does take time. So it's always like the balance of time and energy, all of that. All of that. Yeah, we have raccoons too. Oh, there you go. Oh, you still love me. Oh, my mom still loves me. Well, that's good. She's doing her dishes. All right. Feeling enough was one. That's right. So, feeling enough. Like, are you enough in life? Are you doing enough? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. So if I feel like I am so I think for me, it's the unexpected things that will throw you. Like sometimes your kid is sick, or sometimes you have to go and do something you weren't expecting to have to do, or sometimes you just decide, well, well, that's a great thing now, like that I work at home most of the time, and I should pick up a couple of shifts. That was one of the things I was thinking about last night when I was laying in bed. But we it's nice to be able to say like, "Hey, you know what? I'm actually kind of tired. I think I'm gonna like take a light day." So great. I absolutely love it. And that's actually for me because I need to be creative in my YouTube career and all of that. I need to write. I need to make thumbnails. I try to do things. And so if I'm on a creative role, it's great to not have to interrupt that. So that is exactly, I actually a couple of weeks ago, I canceled some appointments and it felt amazing. Things I could cancel easily, but oh my gosh, felt so good. All right. I always have a point at the end of the day. I always remember all the things I want to get done during the day, and then I feel extremely guilty for all the things I forgot. Okay. Do you have tips for that kind of thing? Yes, I do, Isabella. What you could do, first of all, relying on your brain to remember the things you have to do is kind of a fallacy. It's not a good idea. Our brains are not great repositories for remembering all of the things we have to do. And I was exactly thinking the same thing this morning when I was walking around because every day I say, I'm going to get the kids to sort through these clothes because I want them to decide what they're keeping. I keep forgetting because first thing in the morning, I'll be like, that is what they are doing after school. They are not doing anything else. They are going through these clothes. Oh my gosh, they have to. Does it happen? No, it's been like a week and it hasn't happened. And it's what you have to do is write it down. And so I need to either write it down or put it in my phone. Now, for me, putting things in my phone is not. I have to be careful. And the other person, I forgot his or her name, who was here before, but they had said about digital things. For me, I have to be careful because I have run into the problem of committing myself to too many digital things. So I will say, "Oh, I'm going to use this app on my iPad, and then I'm going to use this one on my computer," which also links to my phone, but then I end up using another one, and so then I'm like, "Which app did I put it in?" And I can't even remember. And so it's for me, my current system is pretty much like appointments and things go in my phone. I have like one kind of like to-do list system where I can add things in the only other spot where things will be, but for the most part now, my to-do list lives here. Like this is where I write down the things that have to get done. And you don't have to use a planner, but I'm suggesting just have, oh yes, go ADHD go. He's the one. And so who had said about digital things. And so I think that it's great to have apps and things that work, but it's really good to just have like one, maybe two. Otherwise, you just are like, I have things in too many places. And that's why I said it's good to have like one control manual, like we say in the Simply ADHD course, because or like they were teaching us, because then you just know where it all is. And so in my planner, I will write down like just a big to-do list, or I will brain dump into my iPad, but that really is more of just like getting it out of my head. And then I can put it in my planner, like have my master to-do list done. And that's where I put things out. So that is my advice for that. Because if you, at the end of the day, are always like, oh my gosh, I wish I did all of this and this and this. What can you do differently? Like, what would work for you? Because that is what works for me. It's like writing it down. So at the end of the day, if you're like, oh my gosh, there are all of these things that I wish that I had done, just write down what they are because tomorrow's a new day and you can hopefully fit those in. And the other thing I do, like if I look at my planner, is I write down like when I'm going to do things. Like this morning, I put down like finish writing at 6 a.m. I have to cancel I have to cancel a service that I was using, and so I put that in here so that, like, I will see it. Um, I wanted to reach out to a couple of podcasts, thumbnails, so I put down thumbnails, 1:30, that's when I'm working on my thumbnails. Live, 9 AM, that's what we're doing right now. I'm working on another quiz for ADHD superpower and how to use it for good, but not evil. Yeah, and filming 11:30. And so that is how I get all of that done is I and this is from years of trial and error. And now I know, like I will just write down all the things I have to do and I don't assign everything all the time. Like I sort of assign things Friday, Saturday from the week before to the coming up week, but I am very careful with it. Like I will even just write down the priorities in the priority list and not necessarily assign them to certain days. I'll put the fixed times that I have meetings in, other things down, but I'll know that I have to just sort of fill those things in. So that is how I managed to get that stuff done. Oh, I hope that makes sense. I'm just like dumping that on you, Isabella. Uh, yes, and it's really not a complicated system. Like, I really just write out a master to-do list, and then I just assign that stuff to when I want it to be. Um, so thank you. And so, yeah, like feeling like you're enough is, are we expecting too much of ourselves? Are we just are we expecting ourselves to be superhuman? Because one of my other clients, she just did a workshop online and she said, "Oh, yeah, like it went really well, but there was like a tech problem and two people couldn't hear it very well." And but we were like, "But it was amazing. Like you were so excited about how everybody was like into like this one particular I won't like, divulge the area, but this particular thing that you're so passionate about. But you're focusing on this like one thing that went wrong." And I said, like, this is your perfectionism. And that's the problem is so many of us, we have perfectionism. So we say like, oh, well, I'm going to get all of these things done and I'm a perfectionist. So I'm going to do it. And my instructor in that ADHD course said, how many of you feel like you have to finish a book from beginning to end because you start it, you feel like you have to end it. That's a form of perfectionism. And I was like, really? Oh my gosh, because how many times have you been like, this book is so boring? And I finally have my problem is I sort of go from book to book to book without like finishing a book. And then I'll be like, I need to go back to that book. And I need to just be more focused with that. But yeah, sometimes like you're like, yeah, this book is just not really doing it for me. And so I do a lot of Audible. I love Audible. I love it. And I right now I have like the once a month book, but I might bump it up to 3 because I keep buying extra credits. But then I also have the Kindle where I can highlight things. But the great news is you can actually, you can return books to the bookstore too. I'm just not that great at reading them. But with the Kindle, if I listen to an Audible book and Kindle, then I pretty much can highlight the things I want to keep and then also listen to it. It's perfect. It's perfect. Oh, right. I have just started becoming a list maker. I think once I get that routine of it, I will be able to do it more consistently. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, just start making a list. And just remember, just because you put it on the list doesn't mean it has to get done. That just means you put that down there. And then when you put it on your like actual day, prioritize, right? Like some things we put on our list and they are not our actual um they don't have to be done. Like there are always things that don't get checked off on my list for sure. Like if I look, there's a couple of things. Yeah, I'm just looking. Oh yeah, I do need to reply to that one email, but that's one thing. Email yellow desk. Let me tell you, especially if it's just like from business stuff. Okay, procrastination causes many problems. Perfectionism causes many problems and leads to procrastination. That's just it. Like I always say, perfectionism, it robs you of your productivity. It totally does. Like it's not good. I made brain dumps for years, so now I have lots of clutter to manage. Still have journals for okay. And so that's the thing with those brain dumps. Keep them for like a week and then discard them. Like if you have journals from 30 years ago with things you haven't done, probably priorities have changed, things have changed. It can go. My planner has a weekly checklist that helps me prioritize and a hydration tracker, which is convenient. Yes, that's just same with this Plum Planner. You can customize it. Like where I put weekly joys, and I used to have like the Fly Lady stuff in there. I love having checklists. I just love them. Some people don't like checklists. I live for checklists. My coach, he says to-do lists are bad because then you're micromanaging yourself. And I was like, if I don't have a to-do list, I'm not getting anything done. Like I need, and that's actually true because then I was like, oh, okay, well, let me just try a week without it. That was the least productive week I've ever had. And I felt terrible about myself. Oh, but since about 2 months, I'm even tired to make lists. Oh, that's too bad. That is too bad. Check out that book. Here, let me look up the link I had for it because it is so good for figuring out your energy, like big time. I will grab this. This is an affiliate link because why not? Right? I don't even know how to put it in the chat anymore. This is so funny. This is so funny. Oh, is it this? What is this? I don't understand how this has changed. It's so strange because yesterday I did this and it didn't look like this. Is it because I've got it skinny? Oh my gosh, that's why, you guys. Ay, there we go. There you go. There's the link for the book. Or look it up yourself. Your brain is not broken. Or click the link. All right. Yes, perfectionism and procrastination is a cycle. I had an aha about not liking endings. Yes, that's the other thing is they said that people, ADHDers in particular, we get depressed when our projects are over. So true. Or a book, right? Have you ever like read a series and been like, oh my gosh, like where do I go with life now? How to come okay, this is how you get on track after vacation. You know how I said I plan my week? I don't even like plan the full week, but have an idea of what you're going to do when you get back. Have a bit of a to-do list for when you get back. And if at all possible, unpack the day or the day after you get home for sure. I have to pack. Ugh. Yeah, don't show up with somebody else's planner. That's for sure. My list making is a compulsion. I'm silently judging people at the grocery store that have no list or not even looking at their phone for a reminder. Jean, you're so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Starting lots of things but not finishing. Yeah, that's really common too, for sure. Um, and that's why you need to that's where the perfectionism is. Like you have to be like, is it worth finishing? Because some things aren't worth finishing. Like sometimes we start things and it's like, yeah, I don't want to finish this. Like, why would I finish this? Other times maybe you should, right? And so how do you decide what is worth finishing for you? And how can you get yourself back on track for that? How can you make a plan for that? Oh my gosh, it's so true. Having been away for a short break, it makes you realize how much you don't need, right? Like hotel rooms, we're like, oh yeah, this is so calm and relaxing. Unless you're there with 3 teenagers who just make things super messy. Oh, anybody, any questions before we go? It's almost been an hour. Oh, it's so nice to chat with you guys again. Oh my goodness. It's been wonderful. I got to give my husband a smooch before he leaves for work in 15 minutes. Any questions? Nothing is calming with my 3 teenagers. I feel you. I feel you. It's yes. I have one who's graduating. This child has some serious ADHD. Serious. Like mine is so mild in comparison to his. Although, well, anyway. So oh gosh, this child, I love him to death. He stresses me out. He is getting such good grades. And yet he just can't. And so I was talking to my instructor, the ADHD one, and she said a lot of kids with ADHD are like 3 years behind. And it's like often for like maturity or executive function, like how to manage life. And so she said that they will go away to university. Like we'd rather him go to one locally because there is one here, but he's like, no, he's dead set that he's going to this big one in the lower mainland near Vancouver. And so she said that they'll be like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, and then they'll crash. And so she said it's not that they necessarily crash from school, it's that they're not managing their laundry, they're not managing their money. And so for him, this whole year, we're like, you need to figure out how to keep your space tidy-ish, keep your laundry clean-ish, and keep track of your money. Like those are the most important things. But he is so one-track mind that he's like, no, like school is the most important thing. I'm like, listen, you will fail out of school if you can't manage these other things. You will go broke. Like he just stressed me out. He just stressed me out. Kelsey says, I'd love to talk more about setting the bar too high at some point. Well, that's just it. I think you have to say, like, what is reasonable for yourself? What can one person do? And are you working breaks into your day? And Jean says, let's normalize ADHD so it's seen as part of our personality and not as disorder. We have many advantages too. It's so true. That's just it. And actually I am like writing the quiz about the superpowers. Autism and ADHD are often seen as very adjacent. A lot of people see it as a spectrum. They're not exactly sure. 8 is 10, 11. 8 is 11, 10 for ADHD. 3 of 4 kids are diagnosed, and the 4th is in the process. Yes. Yeah. And so some people have autism and ADHD. and some people just have ADHD. I was chatting with somebody saying about like some of my I really don't like I'm very care I only wear socks. Like I don't go barefoot, and I don't like to if something's bothering me clothing wise, like poking me, rubbing me, scratchy, I can't handle it. My husband, he's like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, maybe that's like more autism." And I said, "Well, it could be, but I don't think so." And the other thing is that's actually a common thing for people with ADHD too. People just don't realize it. So there are a lot of overlaps. So, but yes, next time we will definitely get into setting the bar too high. Do you guys think we should be doing separate live streams, like one on each channel, or is this good? Do you feel like this was enough content? Was this too heavy on the ADHD, or was this not heavy enough, or did we I didn't really I actually meant to say more about like our environment, like, you know, how important it is for us. I had an eyelash on my glasses and I could not handle it. And Kelsey says they are related in some ways. Both are considered neurodevelopmental disorders, but they're not really connected apart from the overlap Robin just mentioned. Yes. Often there is an overlap. I'm going to give, 1 minute to answer if you like this combined live stream, because this was really fun. It was really nice to do this on my new channel. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that this channel is seen by more people with ADHD and not just people who love minimalism, which I love as well, because, yeah, very true. Very true. Because it messes with the algorithm. So I hope more ADHD people come. Thank you, Lila. Lila. And psychiatrist makes a Venn diagram with ADHD giftedness and autism. Looks like an overlap, but all different things. Yeah, totally. I do not mind on which or both, but I relate to both. Yeah. I'm good with the combo, but the other channel might have another opinion. It's so true, right? You just found me. My other channel is a minimalism channel. It's called Minimalist Home. So I had it all like there, and I think it was, some people were like, "Oh, you didn't need to switch," but I'm like, other people were like, "I'm glad you did." So I'm glad I separated them. Don't know if it's okay to say Sarah Bickers in the UK of Freer Space. She declutters from an ADHD stance. Yeah, sure. I think that's good. She Declutter Hub podcast. Very good. Well, anybody off to get changed to go out? Thanks for the great chat. All right, everybody. Thank you. It was so nice to see you. And I